It's Friday, guys. It's time for raw vegan recipes, raw talks with me. I usually recap my week. I've had a couple people ask about how, when I broke my toe, which I've now completely healed, how I maintained, actually lost weight, and how I healed my toe, but more, how did I manage when I completely stopped exercising? And you know, the like my mental health during that time, which was huge for me. It really made me face how much exercise and being outdoors is like a huge reason that I have my health. And I think not just my health, but how I process emotions, constantly, how I process my trauma. I was sick for 32 years. 25 years in a bed, had over 60 surgeries, 7 major organs removed. And how do you process that? And I think a huge part of that is exercise. But first off, I did want to talk about my weight. And the reason being is it's not that I have ever struggled with weight or I know how it feels to be obese or have major weight issues. But I did notice, and I have spoken about this, that about this time last year, I did start to put weight on around my middle, weight on around this area. And just that also made me kind of feel, I guess, at the same time more tired and fatigued. And anytime this area, it can be hormonal or it can be like sluggish gut. But anytime I start putting on weight, I tend to notice that this is in my life when I get the rashes and the histamine issues and these type of flare-ups. Like my gut health is not good. I have worked on my gut health to no real avail until this year. And I have spoken a few times about things that have helped. But to just, I mean, I don't know if you can see, and maybe you can't see, but my stomach is so much flatter. Like I've had 2 liters of juice this morning and I have managed to get finally, I still want to work on it a bit more, but gut health, hey Tessa, that I am happy with. And I have my keys for this first off was balance. And I will talk a lot about balance today because that can look different for each person. And people dealing with histamine issues have got to get their body, their health, everything in balance. We're not just talking about taking one supplement here. We're talking about managing stress. We're talking about having good sleep. Talking about having good digestion. And that can seem really overwhelming for a lot of people. But a lot of the keys for me are always to look to my past. What were things that I ever did where I felt better or had better gut health? And a lot of the time, anytime, and we're not talking about when I was severely underweight, but anytime. Sorry, guys, it dropped out there. Anytime I sat around for me, and remember, I've got part of my stomach, duodenum, and top of intestines missing. So originally, my weight could sit up around 60 kilograms. I'm not sure what that is in pounds, but once I lost my stomach, they always said you will be 5 kilos lighter. It's not a huge dramatic thing for people, but it's just a matter of fact. You know, you can't fit as much in. And so I started to get my weight up to 64 kilograms. Now, I was exercising a lot and there is muscle growth there, but I seem to, the more I exercise, the more I put on weight, even once I put the estrogen in. The estrogen did make me swell at first, but now I feel it helps me with my weight, and I'll explain why. But I do think cortisol for people or excessive exercise, not enough downtime, not enough rest. For someone like me, I looked in my past and there was a period of time I was quite well as a child. And at that time I was doing water polo, state water polo, school water polo, swimming in the morning, netball, rep netball, school netball, touch football, basketball, indoor netball. There was not a morning or afternoon that I was free. Now, when I stopped a huge chunk of that, which was water polo, swimming, I was barely doing any exercise. I remember dropping very quickly a lot of weight. And it's like a puffiness all over, and I don't sleep properly. So that was really hard to tackle because the exercise helps me process my emotions. I love being outdoors. It helps me be in this state of mind, which I feel upbeat doing and I feel upbeat afterwards. It's like a very sacred space that I love, but breaking my toe, I do believe happened because I was already inflamed. And as I said, I'm not talking about massive weight here, but just things which for people start to cause issues, gut issues. Some people it's skin issues, histamine issues, all sorts of issues. So I broke the toe. Now, in the past, when I have had to stop, even when I was doing just watermelon and grapes, when I had shingles, I put on a lot of weight around my middle. So when I talk about a year ago, maybe it's more a year and a half ago, I started to notice this weight gain. So it wasn't it wasn't me stopping exercise completely, but it did at this time make me realize, like, for some reason, I came into this lifestyle, and it makes sense. We get very traumatized, and I really threw science, and I do throw a lot of science out the window. And the reason being is because I preached and followed it for so many years and I didn't get anywhere. And I was always hoping there'd be a time I can look at it objectively again once I'm stronger with a clearer mind. And I came into this community and a lot of people are saying, you've got to up your calories, you've got to have more calories. So a lot of what I did, and I was someone trying to gain weight. So a lot of what I did was continuously eat. I kind of feel like I coped with this lifestyle, what I'd been through, and the foods are full of nutrients, but you still can't, you've got like scar tissue, a small gut, it doesn't mean you can keep stuffing it in. So I had been trying to address it, but I feel like I was caught in a loop for this last year as well. My iron had dropped, and that makes you even more hungry. And just being caught in this exercise loop. But I did notice when I put the estrogen in for me, I did swell, like immediately swelled. Estrogen makes you swell. But the feedback loop that comes from estrogen works well for me. So you can end up with chronic pain or pain issues if you have too much, because you become very sensitive. Like, I'm already a sensitive person, but like now when I eat, it's very alarming that I've got food in my stomach, and I can now make myself stop. When I was like, I think my body was kind of running on adrenaline and cortisol and the estrogen had just come in, or I had no estrogen, I was just obsessively eating. Now I can't just keep eating because estrogen makes me even more in tune. This is just for me. What I have worked really hard on, I do enzymes and probiotics. They support, but the magnesium for me, like finding that perfect level of magnesium at night helps me sleep. And more so when I wake up in the morning, I'm emptying my bowel. Like, a huge part is even after the juicing, I feel like my bowel, like you start eating again, your bowel's so sluggish. You've got another new problem. You can empty it with the juices, but then you've got another new problem. I do feel more focused with the magnesium. But for me, I don't take any other supplements. I really don't like supplements. I will inject B12 once or twice a year, and I've had one iron infusion, which is crazy for me. Like, usually I was having at least 3 iron infusions a year, most 3 or 4. Even when I was paleo, I was needing so much on a paleo diet, needing so much iron. But I really don't like taking things, but this is really helping me. And it's not a fix overnight. So it's about finding what is stressing you out, how you can deflame your gut, because a lot of things, I tried like the Dr. Morse gut tea, and there's a gut herb as well. This is what happens with me, is everything irritates my gut because I'm so sensitive. The only thing that empties it for me helps me be at a normal rate is the magnesium. And I've shared before that it is an advanced magnesium that has all different types of magnesiums. It's by Fusion. It's an Australian brand, and I like it because it's got no herbs. There's always trying to add things into supplements, and no. So, and it's got like all different magnesium glycinate, citrate, all different types of magnesium. So it's like covering all the different availabilities of absorption for your body, because they absorb differently. So we're talking about getting your body to not be so stressed. And we're talking about finding balance. Like, how do you balance your body? Like, I found I needed the estrogen. It's really helped me. And as I said, like this feedback loop, now I can really listen to my body. Now it's like, oh, you can't eat more. You can't just keep putting in, because it's always swollen here. And then I wondered why I got swollen down below. And And I guess it took me so long to recognize that it was a problem because most of my other issues had gone, but over time it just accumulated. So we're trying to find balance in the body. And I have found magnesium for me really helps, taking it at night. Now, wasn't really great with my omega-3 oil, flax oil, during the bundle. There was lots of chia and flax seeds in a lot of what I was eating, so I wasn't as concerned. I did notice then after about 2 days after the bundle, so what we're talking like 10, 12, 14 days, I started to notice my body being like, it's like my nerves get irritated, or like it's nerve pain isn't like normal pain. It's like being kind of electrocuted. I was moody, couldn't concentrate, and my body wasn't tolerating estrogen as well. And I have for the last couple of days had it's only a tablespoon I need for me. So magnesium, omega-3s, finding a way to not overstress the body. I did notice once I got up walking again in the last week, it has helped my body, mind, and gut more. I am allowed to run because my toe isn't broken anymore and do Pilates, but I am in no rush. It's like I've had a mental reset to do what I did before, where it's like get up, run, do Pilates, and then in the afternoon do walking. Like I think it was part of my journey to do that much movement so I could kind of cope with what I'd been through. But my body obviously wanted me to kind of face me, and facing me on estrogen is a whole different ball game because that was something that I was taking while I was acutely sick. And also I had to move back to my parents' home because I had my bathroom redone. And I'm there with in the back room on a bed, can't get up, and I'm on medications like opioids, like I used to be on for at least I think it was the first week and a half, because I was in so much pain from displacing it. And same hormones. So I really had to go back and face who I was. But what was incredible was how strong I am now. It was really like I can face all of this, but even when it's like, I think a lot of ways in the past I was in so much pain and so weak, I needed even more pain medication. Now I just want it off, but it was upsetting my gut. I was vomiting from it. All things where you could just see my body was a lot stronger. I did have some hard days and I think when you exercise that much, you're literally coming down. I did go back to coffee. I've shared this. I went back to coffee when I was really sore. I think that was my body obsessively trying to move and take a stimulant to like not feel pain. And then I went back to it as well. And I think it's because I love the jolt of energy that exercise was giving me, and I was trying to use it with coffee. But I think don't discredit the strength you learn on your health journey. It's even when I've had things come up, like I came back from Hawaii, my iron was really low, I didn't realize, and I got COVID. And I remember like having like a massive fever and all these issues with it, but I felt so strong from sun, being outside, being connected to people, so much movement. You could tell my body was able to cope with it. But this time it was a real spirit and soul undertaking where I really had to, I feel like this last year I got a lot of my memory back, because I've shared that I lost a lot of my memory when I dissociated 7 years ago. It started, and got things like FND and complex PTSD, depression. I ended up suicidal years later. But you can imagine I never processed emotions. I was always in a lot of pain. Now, I feel like last year I got my memories back in like chunks. This year, I feel like I've always used to refer to myself as different Skyes. Only since I dissociated did this happen. Each was like this set era and none crossed over. There was when I was in chronic pain and had all my pelvis work done. There was when I dissociated and got well. My brain was split. This year, a lot of what has happened is all the good things of Skye are coming together. So I've been on this journey where I think I was very disconnected from myself, and now it's like I get to choose. I get to choose the things I want in my life that make me feel good. And when things don't work for me, I can feel it very loudly now, and that's not coming back in my life. Like coffee, right? But I get to choose now, and I feel like who I'm becoming is an accumulation of everything I've ever done in my life and learnt. Whereas when we first get well, I think we're so traumatized. I did bad. I ate this bad. that's like a coping mechanism. But now to sit in a space where a lot of my memories are able to meld and mesh and become the person I always was meant to be, and still doing that every day. But it's really nice that nothing we've ever done is truly bad. It's all part of like awakening the soul and spirit and strengthening the soul and spirit on this journey. And I will say that everything I'm capable of doing is not possible without raw foods. But I wouldn't be well without the whole picture. Like the raw foods, I always say, gets me up, but I need to be outside moving. I need to be in nature. Even when it rains, shoes off, feet on the ground. I need to be around good people. I got up and started journaling again today. So I'm obviously in a better space. I haven't journaled in at least 6 months. I need to stay hydrated. What I notice about if I have too much dehydrated food or too much salt, I literally will have moments where, let's call it complex PTSD or functional neurological disorder, where I can't walk, I freeze. This used to happen so badly for like weeks. I couldn't move. I wouldn't sleep for weeks, like 3 weeks at a time. I'd literally lock onto a wall. And they, neurologists are calling it FND, psychiatrists are calling it complex PTSD and shell shock. And it comes back where I'm so paralyzed by an emotion or a memory in a dense energy that I can't move. Not to the extent that I'm frozen, but it's almost like I'm like, I want to even scream, Mom, help, like somebody help me. I can't move, but you can't talk. But as soon as I start rehydrating, so it shows to me how the hydration of the raw foods really, literally, which is what I knew from day one. It was like night and day. Have cooked food, can't get up. Have raw food in its, like in what level it sits for me, where I'm hydrated enough and I can get up. So I think that was something that's been nice to learn lately, because I feel that I've been able to eat. I have no histamine issues. The only couple of things I do, which I've had forever, is when I have too much lemon juice. And I guess I say forever. I can have it in a salad, but if I have like lemon in a juice, I will get a little itchy around my ankles. But we're not talking about stomach pains, nerve pains, like crazy brain. And the other one is bananas. I've never tolerated that well. Besides that, I'm like apple cider vinegar here, miso there, like, but I will make sure I stay hydrated. And I recommend anybody on a raw vegan diet that you find your level where you feel good. And that looks different, I promise you, for every person, because you want to find a level where you're not just, like, you don't want to just get on the raw foods and be like, okay, I'm going to have recipes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then say, I don't feel well. You really need to go up into like lighter raw foods. And then maybe you want a savory recipe for dinner, and your body will tolerate that because it's hydrated enough. Thanks, Donna. Hey, I recommend that a lot. So yeah, that's kind of, because I'm going to do a recipe today as well for you guys, because I always clean out my fridge on Friday. It was Friday for me, and I make something, and I like to do it that way because most of the time, and as much as I love like bundle recipes, and even people who do them, they get inspiration a lot from the recipes because you use what you have on hand. I like to let the food speak to me. Like, what do you want to become this week? And apparently it's a burger patty. So that's what we're doing in a minute. But I did want to just cover those topics, which I've covered my weight journey, which isn't huge. Like, and I haven't weighed myself again. It was only my parents that I weighed myself. I'm like, holy cow, I've put on 10 kilograms, which is 20 pounds in like 1 year or 2 years. So I knew I needed to, for me, and I know I exercise a lot, so there is muscle there, but those pants I have on today, I was almost going to throw out. I'm like, they're tiny, they're mini, and now they fit and they're comfortable. So it's not, I mean, I still think that for me, someone that's quite small, it's a lot of weight that I didn't need. And it was just, as I said, I think I was trying to cope a lot. I was overeating. Just for me, it's overeating. Also, like, if somebody said, how did you manage to like lose weight? Instead of picking up fruit constantly, I'd pick up a veggie bowl. Calories in for me actually matters. I don't know. It's back to the science. I'm like, I tried to ignore science when I got on this because I was like, I seemed so sick when I listened and read everything like that. But for me, it's calories. If I eat too many calories. And for a woman who's gone through menopause, 1,600 calories is enough per day. When you exercise, of course, more. But I'm up trying to push past 2,000, like constantly don't have a stomach. So instead of constantly having fruit and a lot of the time I never felt like fruit. I was doing it because I thought that was the right thing to do. And then I'd end up having a handful of nuts and then I'd feel really sick because I had all this fruit in my system. A lot of the time, all I ever crave is like veggies. I just get a plate of veggies. My favorite at the moment are cauliflower, mushrooms. I love the hydration of having some cucumber in the bowl, cut that up, and then I just put salt and pepper on it. And I'll just munch on that. And I love that a lot. I make sure my juices are balanced. Also, just know, having no stomach, you get dumping syndrome, which is a blood sugar issue because you eat the food and the blood sugar spikes. And especially when it comes on, you literally feel the blood just drain from your face because your blood pressure drops, your heart rate then, of course, increases, you get diarrhea. It's not pleasant. But I wasn't getting that sort of symptoms. The main thing since doing all these different things in my life is I have no histamine on myself for at least a month and a half, maybe more. Maybe since I did keto. Since I did keto, I could eat avocado after avocado. As soon as I started putting more sugars back in, sweet fruit, all my histamine issues came back. And then last week, I tried to do sweet fruit again. I was so unwell. I actually was really unwell. So I'm back to doing like keeping hydrated with I like to do green apple, celery, cucumber juices. Sometimes I go more into the apple. I'm able to do coconut water again, but still sometimes my body goes, no, you can only have so much of that. And then I like to do like veggie bowls. As I said, like just my favorite veggies at the time, whatever I crave, with a bit of salt and pepper. And then I'll do a little bit of fruit, and then I'll have like one meal a day. That's probably another thing. And then I must stop. If I eat again, I wake up and feel like crap. I don't think I sleep properly. I'm better off hydrating in the morning till like 11 or 12, and then I'll eat. And I try stop by 3. 4 is like my max. If I pick even at food after, I really notice it now. So it's really just kind of been, I guess, a bit of an adaptation for my situation with my stomach, but calories. If you have a veggie bowl versus having tropical fruits, you're eating less calories. And my body seems to like that. So yeah, and I did want to touch on, because I know a lot of people if you just eat fruit and you don't eat fat, I agree, but I cannot not have balanced meals. I went for years craving foods. Even when I was doing lots of fruits, I craved that all day. All I wanted was my salad. I don't have that problem anymore. You can't go years. You can't say, wait, it takes years for someone to adapt. The other thing is, when I have balance, I have good hair, I have strong nails, I have better concentration. Like, I get crazy brain if I just eat fruit. It doesn't take away that I probably will do a few days on fruit here, or if I can get back there. So far, I haven't got back there. But for me, I need balanced meals. If I want to lose weight, I just don't need as many calories. Kind of common sense things that I feel because of trauma, I let go. Do you ever steam your veggies? No. The last time I steamed my veggies was 4 years ago, and then I couldn't get up. I had PTSD. I had symptoms, like I was saying before, where I freeze. I was still bleeding. I didn't heal, and I couldn't get up. When you can't get up, you can't get up. And as I said, the same thing happens if I was to have just dehydrated food all day. Because when we're about to make these patties, when I eat this patty, it'll either be broken up through a hydrating salad, and I would have had hydration before it. It's not, if I do something like that and then have salt on it, I literally, one of my most acute symptoms where I just can't, I freeze, comes back. So that, I don't know, I haven't gone back, but the reason I had to stop, and I was doing dry roasted pumpkin, tomato, garlic. I did some steamed cauliflower. What else? What else do I remember? They're the things I remember, is just trying to steam veggies and just not really functioning. I steamed some beans. They're like the last thing 4 years ago. And I just love my lifestyle so much, and the hydration I get. So when I eat these like denser foods like this hamburger I'll eat today, I do get nutrients from it, but it's to more satisfy something. The best I feel is getting the hydration out of foods. Like you could put me in a garden of Eden, or like by a beach, and I don't know whether maybe I do better doing just tropical fruits by a beach. I don't know. But I say garden and picking my veggies and fruit, being grounded, that's probably I'd be in my element. But I don't live that way. And I do find recipes, like I just love the memory of like when I eat a pasta bowl or a hamburger, it makes me feel like I did that excited feeling of fast food, unfortunately. But then you feel so good like afterwards. And that is what brings me joy and happiness a lot of the time. But most days, like yesterday, I had for lunch, I had spinach, which is high histamine, with avocado in nori rolls with a bit of salt and pepper. I was going to put some mushrooms, but I just didn't feel like it. And then afterwards, I had some of Nate's crackers, which are almost gone, which I had left over from the bundle, and a few dips of the Nutella, which is fat-free, nut-free. That was by Lena from the bundle as well. And you can still get Lena's course with the recipe, and you still get Nate's ebook, but you just can't get the bundle anymore. But if I was to have a second meal like that, I wouldn't get up. Well, okay, I would for a few days, but it's something to do with my digestion and not having a stomach and what it can tolerate. And so most of what supports me is hydration, but then it does want one denser meal a day. Yeah, so I hope that helped with the weight loss. I did touch so far on my mental health during this whole stint of having a broken toe, because my toe's completely healed, which I'm so excited about. Nothing on me used to ever heal. So that's so nice that there's no break, dislocation, displacement. It's all perfect. It was really about my spirit. So during that time, my soul had to go through something that you could call it dark night of the soul. It's nothing like I endured when I was chronically ill or trying to get my memory back or lost my memory. But it was like, as I said, cherry picking, like learning to cherry pick parts of myself throughout my entire life, which I loved and could try again. And of course, I wasn't working as much, and I wasn't running as much, and I was at my parents', and so it was time to like do that. And I did that this time, not so much in nature. So last time, all I could do was sit in nature and eat raw foods. This time I really had to be in bed a lot more. For me to get out into nature, it was such an effort, especially with the boot on at the start. So maybe that was part of me I had to face, that I'm okay without running around outdoors all day and being in nature. But it was very much something about me going back to face things. Okay, so why is that not? Oh, the light's on. Sorry, I'm just checking my food processor because we're using a food processor. So we are going to chop up some veggies and put them and make these burger patties. This is the recipe for the week. We are using what I had in my fridge. So we have so far carrots. I have some tomatoes, which do not look that great. I don't like using a lot of tomatoes in a hamburger patty because we don't want it too wet. I've got some celery. I've got half an onion. I've got some sprouted buckwheat that sprouted itself. I've got some mushrooms, some oyster mushrooms here, garlic. I've got some miso because it's got that like umami taste, which we want in like a patty, which is supposed to like mimic a meat type of burger. Garlic, as I said, and I chose today to use, I want to use seeds. So I'm going to try using flaxseed and some pumpkin seed in it. We will keep this lower fat. We'll see how we go along. I might put some onion powder and some herbs in, but so far, this is what we're doing. So let me move this so you guys can watch what I do. Let's move that there. Okay. We've got a chopping board. Now I have got a little cup here to give you guys like an estimate of how much I'm using, but this is literally just throw in and go type stuff. So let's chop up a couple carrots. Let's see what this is. So it's like probably like 2 cups of carrots. Now I have, as I said, some celery. Take those bits off. And I won't know what these turn out like until tomorrow. Now I reckon that is about, okay, that's about 1.5 cups of celery. And now we're going to do this onion here. Big slice of onion. What's that? It's like a, let's say, 1/4 of an onion. I can smell that. It's going to knock me out. Okay, so we're going to do like 1/4 of an onion. Now, we'll do some of the buckwheat. Now, it's only reason it's sprouted is because it is left over from recipes I made during the bundle, and it just sprouts so easily. I actually end up sprouting mine in the fridge. So that is close to 1 cup. Oh, let's say 3/4 of a cup. You can see that there. 3/4 of a cup. Okay, so I've got some mushrooms here. First off, these are like, yeah, we won't be using these. They're moldy. So that's a big sign not to use them. But we do have 100, there you go, exactly amount, 150 grams of oyster mushrooms. So we'll put those in. Okay, now I'm only going to put like a couple of baby tomatoes in because I don't like my burgers, wet, too wet. I'm going to say like 1/4 cup baby tomatoes. So just a little bit there, not much at all. Garlic cloves. Have as much garlic as you want. I'm just going to put, well, 2 is probably going to be a lot for that amount, but I like it garlicky. You might want to put just 1. Once we trim this down, maybe not. I need to get probably like a garlic peeler. Which is easy, but I'm not like someone who's that fussed if there's stuff that goes in, like a bit of skin. Extra nutrients. Okay. What are we up to now? Okay, so miso, I'm going to put a tablespoon of miso in. Probably move this over now so you guys can have a look what's in there. Can you even see there? Maybe we'll lift this up a bit. There. There we go. Okay, so we can put a tablespoon of miso in here. Then I'm going to put like, let's see, maybe like, so I think I've got like 1/3 cup of pumpkin seeds and maybe just a tablespoon of flax. I need to get a. Now, if you decided you wanted to use sunflower seeds instead of pumpkin or chia seeds instead of flax, or you only have like cashews on hand or walnuts, go for it. It's the whole thing with these recipes is you have a different type of mushroom or a different type of tomato, just use that. Okay, now I wanted to do some flavors. Now, I think I was feeling like I do like onion powder. We could curry it and do curry burgers, but I did a curry last week. Let's keep this plain. So as you can tell, you can make this however you want. We might do a little bit of paprika. Oh, I think I'm out of paprika. So that's not going to happen. What else have we got here? What's this? No, we're going to keep this really simple. We might do a little bit of herb if I can find it. Let's see, is that herbs back there? Gosh, you've really gone to the back of the cupboard there. Oh, Italian seasoning. I don't know. I think I'm going to keep this really simple. I think I'm going to use onion powder and sumac. If you haven't used sumac, get onto sumac. It's amazing. It really is. Let me get a sumac's a flower. I think it's from, I'm not sure, Middle Eastern culture. And it's dried and it's like, I don't know, it's got a tang to it. If you want to lower your salt intake, you can use some of that because it has that like electric feeling on the tongue that salt gives you. Do you know they invented something where this fork or this spoon where you can like eat with it and it gives you a little like shock on your tongue and makes your brain think you've eaten salt? Sounds like getting a fried brain to me. Okay, 1 generous teaspoon of onion powder. And, oh, brand new sumac here. I like the idea of keeping my burger really plain because, I was like, I could add curry and I was like, all these different spices. But the idea would be that I make this into a burger and use sauces or maybe add, I don't know, add extra sauces or maybe some of my cheese or so I don't want it like too overwhelming. So we've got some sumac here. I'm going to add a teaspoon. Okay, so I gave you guys the measurements today. Usually I just throw it all in. Okay, I might back this camera up for a sec because we're going to blend this. And sometimes this blender just, oh, am I going to be able to close this backwards? Yep. Okay, I'm going to back this up. I feel like it could explode here. Let me turn this for a second next to my computer. Okay, I'll show you how it looks. I'm going to just brush down the sides. That you can do it like rough and chunky, like you do your hamburger however you want. So some people like it with more texture. See how the edges have got that texture still, and most of the base does too. You can do it like that, or you can blend it, pulse it so it's really kind of meaty. You will find the mushrooms make a dish like this meaty. Because of the amount of mushrooms I put in, I didn't want to put walnuts in as well because it will make it a little too meaty. A little, yeah, not my vibe right now. So where are we? Okay, you can do it. Get on. Okay. Okay. Just brush down the sides once more, but that is looking very meaty. And as you can see, vegetables have so much hydration in it. Well, I don't know if you can see there. So that's why I did not want to put too much tomato in it. And I didn't put, let me taste it. I didn't put any lemon in this. Usually I put like an acid in this. No, that's really good. Oh, that's perfect. Yum. It's really meaty actually. Or umami, we'll call it. Okay. Okay. You guys can see in there. That's like ready, meaty. Now we're going to put it on. I'll just move this out of the way for a second. On a dehydrated tray. I use, like, I think they're called egg rings, burger patty rings. I don't know. Let me show you. Okay. Dehydrated tray that's lined. Now I've got some of these rings. I'm not sure how much mixture we'll have. But I think I feel like I've lost one of these because it's just a random 7. I don't think they sell these in 7s. Anyway, this is what we're working with. So, oh, where's that spoon gone? Where's my spoon? Here. All right. So I'm just going to take the mixture and spoon it out evenly into these rings. See? Oh, you can't see. Hang on. See the first one there? Let me, as I move along, you'll see. Let me bring this down a little more for you. There. So you just... Actually, once these are in, you could actually just take the ring off and put them in as is. I think that's what I usually do. Sometimes if they're too watery, that's not an option, but these are good consistency. Oh, it's really therapeutic making food like this on a rainy day. Feeding my soul. Oh, that one's a bit full. Yeah, I will be taking the lid off of these because the rings off of these because I've got lots of, not lots, but I can make a few more of these burgers. Might be eating burgers for the next week. So what I then do, make sure they're all in. So there's a batch of 7. But what I'll do is first off just move this ring and this ring, and we'll do 9 on this tray. And what should happen as well as it sets, it'll get stickier because it has flaxseed in it. And also the pumpkin seed, they'll absorb a lot of moisture. Okay, so we got 9 on this tray. I probably could have fitted more. Fit, is that a fitted? Fit. Okay, so just take those rings off. There. Oh, there's one left. You probably could squish them down. You probably could flatten them a little better, but I think they're fine. So that's one tray done. I will put them into a dehydrator. I don't have another tray out, and my lighting and camera and all of that's in the way. So once I get off this live, I can finish this off. And I will post the reel of making it, maybe some photos as well. But the recipes above that taste good already. It will go into the dehydrator for, I don't know how long. I'll have to fill you in on that. But it will go in at 115. It probably, like within a few hours, it can probably flip and make it, you just flip it on and put it back in. Probably another, I don't know how many hours. I'll have to let you know. But that was my Friday cooking demo live. I will be back on Monday at 12. So today was 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, sorry, Australian Eastern Standard Time, which I think is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US. I will be back at 12 midday my time. So what's that? That's, I think, 10 or 11 Eastern Standard Time in the US. That just happens to be the time I can do it. But I talk to you guys about how I make like one meal a day, which I absolutely love. Like it's my time to get in the kitchen and make, salad. It's usually like a new recipe every day, or it might be something I've already made before, but most days I make something new. And I was going to show you how I do that on Monday. So if you miss it, it will be back up. It will be on YouTube for replay. So love you guys. Have a great weekend. Hope you enjoyed the live. Oh, also there's plenty of podcasts next week. I think there's like 5 or 6 that I've got lined up. We've got the herb party. It's sweet and sour party with people like Lissa and Daniel McKinnon. And that won't be live because there's too many people. We will have the party, then I'll repost it. Then the next day on Wednesday, there's a women's podcast with our women's podcast panel coming together. We've got a special guest talking about how she found raw foods helped her perimenopause, but she also needed bioidentical hormones. So she's sharing that. And then I think I've got interviews with Dolce and Brianna and Jamie Love. So there's lots. I'll be live lots next week. Bye. Oh, hang on. Which brand of nail polish do you normally use? Okay, quick note on nail polish. I learned this. So I bought there's actually a brand called Raw, R-A-W. Really loved it. Beautiful colors, vegan, low toxicity. But if you are in the kitchen every day making foods with things like lemons and apple cider vinegar and fruits which have acid, you literally start eating your nail polish. So in Australia, we have something called BIAB, which is it's like a builder gel. So I go to the salon now and have this done because I realized I was repainting my nails daily and I'm like, I have to be eating this. And I found that I like nail polish. So I don't know how healthy it is. I know your nails get really long from it. And yeah, so as for vegan nail polish, if you're not having your hands or you're going to wear gloves, I would choose the brand RAW, Raw. And I'll see you soon. Bye.